Straight ahead on CCX News, a local state representative announces plans to step away from political office. Plus, a rare in-person town hall meeting. What people wanted to know from Congressman Erik Paulsen. And the retiring head of the Osseo District's school lunch program pays tribute to the lunch lady.
A lunch lady's job is not a glamorous one. Most days she's the first employee to arrive at school.
CCX News starts right now. Hello and thanks for joining us. A local Republican House leader says she won't be back for another legislative session.
Representative Joyce Peppin has announced she is resigning from the legislature effective July 2nd. Peppin represents Rogers, Maple Grove, and Dayton, and for the last 4 years she's held the second most powerful leadership position as House Majority Leader. She is serving her 7th term in office. Although Peppin filed for re-election last Tuesday on the first day possible, she said it's time to step back from public service and return to employment in the private sector. In a news release, Peppin said, quote, "Serving in the legislature was not meant to be a full-time career, but rather a temporary public service, and I know there are many smart leaders with new ideas, goals, and skills that will step forward to serve." Peppin has accepted a job as general counsel for the Minnesota Rural Electric Association in Maple Grove. Peppin points to securing emergency funding after the Rogers tornado, helping to pass legislation for the Maple Grove Hospital, and getting a new interchange on I-94 as some of her biggest accomplishments. And when we talked to her after the session ended, Peppin said the Brockton Lane interchange is long overdue.
It's the longest stretch of freeway in the metro area that doesn't have a point to exit and enter. It's about 6 miles, and so for safety concerns and for just traffic congestion and things like that, it's just needed. The growth in the area has been so strong that that's been needed for a long time, so just absolutely thrilled that we were able to pass it.
$13 million for the Brockton Lane interchange is in the bonding bill, which the governor signed today. Peppin also points to an agreement to stabilize pension plans for public workers, including teachers, and she was part of a push to broaden the sexual harassment standard that passed the House but stalled in the Senate. She says the current standard is so strict, sexual harassment cases rarely move forward.
One of the things personally that I worked on is a change to the sexual harassment law. Passed in the House overwhelmingly, 122 to 4. The governor supported it, so we got to get the Minnesota Senate on board next year and hopefully keep working forward with that.
But the deadline for a new candidate to file for the office is June 5th.
Right after Governor Dayton signed the bonding bill, MnDOT announced about $130 million in funding for Highway 252 in Brooklyn Center and Brooklyn Park. Traffic engineers say dirt could be turned as soon as 2022 to convert Highway 252 to a freeway. The project is expected to cost up to $163 million, including up to $31 million in local funding. A freeway would eliminate 2 intersections along the route that are among the 10 most dangerous in the state. Another local project to get funding in the bonding bill is the replacement of the Rockford Road Bridge over I-494 in Plymouth. Congressman Erik Paulsen got an earful in his district.
The 5-term Republican hosted 2 town hall meetings today and will host another one tonight in Brooklyn Park. And we get more on that from Erik Nelson. Erik?
Yeah, Alex and Mike, these in-person meetings are rare for Erik Paulsen, which is why many voters showed up. It was their chance to hear Paulsen's opinions on various topics. At his first town hall stop in Hamel, Paulsen pointed out that he is not always aligned with President Trump on everything he says or does, including the president's view on immigrants.
When comments were made about African nations not being that same standard, or having the moral clarity. I mean, I fundamentally said that was wrong. The president should apologize.
There were plenty of subjects that came up at the Hamel Town Hall, including global warming, Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election, and taxes. But the hot-button issue was gun control. That topic came up often. Paulsen says he thinks it's okay to ban bump stocks.
When you have a firearm that is illegal, why shouldn't a device that makes that firearm do what's illegal, why should that be legal as well? Again, I think gun violence restriction orders are the most opportune issue that we can actually pass.
The majority of the country wants to have universal background checks, a ban on assault-style weapons, and they're not listening because he gets big money from the NRA. He's got an A rating with the NRA.
Paulsen represents Minnesota's 3rd District, which includes Brooklyn Park, Maple Grove, and Plymouth. He is running for re-election against DFL candidate Dean Phillips. Those in attendance today were chosen at random. Mike?
All right, Eric, thank you. In Maple Grove, you'll see major reconstruction at the shops at Arbor Lakes. The general manager hopes it will drive more traffic to the area. The shops contain a mixture of clothing retailers, grocery stores, and dining options, but the center section is only accessible by walking there, which the general manager says has proven to be functionally obsolete and points to retailers that have left, like J. Crew, Banana Republic, and Anthropology. The plan includes allowing drivers to access interior streets and adding dozens of angled parking stalls. The center section will also get a landscaping and lighting overhaul. The project aims to get underway this summer and be finished in time for the holiday shopping season. Brooklyn Center officials want to make medians safer for pedestrians and motorists.
And the police chief and city staff researched 12 high-traffic intersections, mostly along Brooklyn Boulevard and Bass Lake Road, and found some safety concerns. Reporter Sonia Goins shows us how they plan to fix the problem.
Traffic along Brooklyn Boulevard moves pretty fast, but that doesn't stop people like this man from panhandling on the busy road.
You've got traffic going on both sides of you, sometimes 40 miles an hour plus. It's just not a safe, especially on a narrow median.
Chief Gadden says people in the median are a distraction for drivers and for pedestrians who want to use the median to cross because they have to walk around that person. Currently, there are no laws to address the public safety concerns, but officials say there really needs to be, especially when you take into account that there were 7 pedestrian versus vehicle accidents in Brooklyn Center last year. 5 of those happened along Bass Lake Road and Brooklyn Boulevard.
Last year we had a woman that was walking to and from the median. She had been stationary at the median, and then she was crossing back across the roadway and got struck by a vehicle.
Chief Gannon is trying to amend an ordinance to make it against the law to just stand in the median for a period of time, no matter the reason.
I don't care if you're holding up a sign that says, "I love cops," you're still not able to be at that median.
If the ordinance is changed, people would not be allowed on a median within 300 feet of a high-traffic intersection, unless that person is in the process of legally crossing the road.
If you stand in that median for more than 2 cycles of the lights, then we know that you're being stationary there.
City officials say medians were created as a safe haven for pedestrians to make it across the street. But somewhere down the road, the safety aspect has changed.
It's not made to accommodate a person standing there for hours at a time.
In Brooklyn Center, Sonia Goins, CCX News.
A public hearing and second reading of the ordinance will take place on June 25th.
Well, some news on the dining front. Brooklyn Park residents could be getting some new restaurants. City Council approved an expansion plan for what's called the Stone Mountain Center building. The property owner says it's where 3 restaurants with outdoor patios are likely. The site is near 2 other planned restaurants. Chick-fil-A expects to start construction in late summer, and Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers could begin construction next month. Still ahead, a tribute to lunch ladies in the Osseo district, which also speaks volumes of their retiring leader.
Plus, it's a pitcher's duel as Heritage Christian Academy faces Mayor Lutheran in a rain-shortened playoff baseball contest.
But first, relief is on the way from both storms and the heat. The Director of Food and Nutrition Services for Osseo Area Schools is retiring this June after almost 30 years with the district.
And if you have ever talked to or heard Tom Pellegrino talk about school lunches, you would know instantly that he is passionate about his job. Reporter Shannon Slatton explains how he left a very special message for his staff.
It's less than an hour before lunch, and the kitchen at Park Center High School is hopping.
Okay, so this is our taco bar. This is our most popular dish.
Today promises to be busier than most.
If they don't eat beef, there's chicken.
Because it's Taco Bar Day.
Can't forget this.
Everything is set out like Chipotle.
corn.
Workers create food bars like this because it gives students a choice in what they want to eat. But every day presents a challenge.
A lot of people don't understand what we go through when we have to make no way into some way, and we have to come up with stuff to make it look good and appealing for the kids in a short amount of time.
That time crunch is even tighter when the kitchen is sometimes hard to staff.
This cafeteria, we've got 17 employees. We have 6 permanent openings. We've had that for 2 years. These lunch ladies are unsung heroes. They are artists, hidden artists in our schools.
Tom Pellegrino oversees all of the lunchrooms, all of the lunch ladies, and a few lunch men at Osseo area schools.
Common people that do uncommon deeds on a daily basis.
Tom is retiring, but he doesn't want the limelight. Instead, he shined the light on his staff.
If you see the way they connect with kids, you'll understand.
He took that emotion and wrote a tribute.
A lunch lady's job is not a glamorous one.
The letter went out over email.
It validated us.
And right into the hearts of those who serve up school lunch.
It was endearing. It was spot on. I saw myself in that letter. I saw my staff in that letter.
I really, really appreciate Tom more than he knows. He really, I don't want to cry, so I'm not going to cry, but I am going to miss Tom a lot.
Tom signed off his tribute, not with his title, but Tom Pellegrino, Lunch Lady Man. Osseo lunch ladies couldn't have asked for a bigger cheerleader.
A lunch lady achieves her greatest influence in our school system the moment she realizes that being a champion for kids is job one.
In Brooklyn Park, Shannon Slatton, CCX News.
And we have posted the letter on our website at ccxmedia.org. Osseo Area Schools has hired a new director of food and nutrition services, Jeff Ansorge from St. Paul Public Schools. Big thank you to Tom and to all those lunch ladies out there.
They're the ones that told us about the letter. That
Exactly.
was great.
They reported it to us. Still ahead, Armstrong students prepare to give inspirational speeches that spread new ideas.
But first, Wayzata battles Armstrong in an elimination game in the prep softball playoffs, and John Jacobson is in next.
I'm John Jacobson with sports. Extended wintry weather forced a late start to the spring sports season, and this week's rain and thunderstorms are playing havoc with the playoffs. Top seed Heritage Christian Academy taking on Mayor Lutheran in Section 4A baseball. It's a pitcher's duel. Mayor Lutheran's Alex Bauman gets the strikeout to get out of trouble in the bottom of the first inning. And Heritage's overpowering Seth Halverson is one of the state's best. He fans 10 and 5 innings of work. This game stays scoreless through the first 2 innings. In the third, Halverson's running from second, but the bunt by Steph Sawtell has popped up. Bauman makes the catch and throws to second, double up Halverson. Fourth inning, Johnny Flynn hits a sinking liner to left that drops despite a good effort by Brandon Feltman. It scores Dawson Penshorn, and Heritage takes a 1-0 lead. The weather turns bad in the 6th. Mayor Lutheran loads the bases, but the game is called, and it's an official game after 5 innings as Heritage takes a 1-0 win to move into the winners bracket final. In softball, 2 local teams met in an elimination game in the Section 6 4A tournament. Wayzata facing Armstrong. In the bottom of the second, Wayzata's Anna Engman comes through. A 2-out hit scores Amy Quast for a 1-0 lead. Bottom of the 5th, it's Engman with another clutch 2-out hit to score Quast, and Iva Buckley capping a 6-run inning and putting the Trojans on top 7-0. They have 3 more in the 6th. Grace Noble's ground ball is through, and Alexis Olfke hustles around and slides in with a triple. And then Katie Walk's hit will bring home courtesy runner Molly Lang for a 9-2 Trojans lead. Falcons fight to the end, getting 3 runs in the top of the 7th, cutting the lead to 10-5. But the rally ends there, and Wayzata advances on with a 10-5 win. Spots in the singles and doubles portion of the state boys tennis tournament were up for grabs Tuesday. In the Section 5AA doubles final, it was an all-Wayzata matchup. Michael Deal and John Foley beat their teammates Max Liao and Jacob Mendel 6-2, 6-1 for the section title. Both teams advanced to state. In singles, R.J. Griffiths of Rogers lost the first set, but rallied to beat Johnny Nudler of Wayzata for the title in 3 sets. Nudler advances as runner-up after his teammate Eric Williams had to injury default in their true second match. And in Section 6AA, Benilde's Tristan Felstead and Ryan Frost won the doubles title, return to state, where they placed third last season. Champlin Park baseball team won its playoff opener as senior lefty Max Loven pitched a no-hitter on Monday. Loven is featured on our Sports Jam show this week on CCX. Here's Jay Wilcox with a clip from that story.
He's calm. He just, shows up every day. He'll show up today at practice just the same way he will for a start on Wednesday. He just is steady, very reliable, and just kind of keeps a very calm demeanor, both on the mound, in the dugout, and even in the hallways.
It's just really easy to catch him. He's always, he's always going to be hitting his spots and just kind of set up outside the plate, and he's going to be there. There's not many times that he's going to miss a spot, so they're easier to frame, and umpires love them because they're not having to move around or really think about it too much. It's like gloves there, strikes there, the ball's there.
Loven's strikeout to walk ratio is amazing, nearly 12-1. He isn't infatuated with striking every batter out, but doesn't mind when they come.
I guess that's kind of the goal, because I try to execute every pitch that I can. So in the end, the goal would be to strike him out, but it's not like if I don't strike him out, I'm mad or anything. I just really want to get him out, but so really I just try to get him out anyway.
You can watch the rest of the Max Loven story and much more on Sports Jam. It's on through Wednesday night and on CCX1 and online at ccxmedia.org. That's all for sports. Mike and Alex, back to you.
All right, John, thank you. Up next, inspiration for the next generation.
Armstrong students prepare to give TED Talks when we come back.
Well, finally, 6 weeks of preparation led to a big moment for several Armstrong High School students.
6 Armstrong students will give so-called TED Talks, or short, powerful speeches that inspire and make people think. The idea started through the nonprofit TED. The theme of their speeches is focus on the child, and all else will follow. Each student's story revolves around personal experience.
Being able to do a TED Talk gives these students the world as their audience. So they'll not only have the people that are attending the event, but because it's recorded, they will have the world to listen to their message. And I think they have great messages to convey.
You will be able to see their talks at TED.org. What an opportunity to spread your message to the world, really.
Inspiration.
That does it for us. Thanks so much for joining us.
And we'll see you back here again tomorrow, starting at 4.